I want to go across to Mohan Vishwa now. Now, sir, how does the Enforcement Directorate get involved? You know, this being probed by the Lokayukta is at one level. The Prevention of Money Laundering Act is about preventing money laundering, as the Act's name suggests. How does the purchase of land 2 decades ago fall under the purview of the Enforcement Directorate?
See, Rahul, it's unfortunate that Labour Minister don't even understand what is money laundering and has not even read the definition of money laundering. Doesn't mean that money laundering means only it includes money, it includes even property. Proceeds of crimes from the property, possession, sale, illegal occupation. Let him read the law, come and speak in a national TV like India Today. Let him not bluff because he's known for bluffing. And I heard about
so the land was allocated by your government. If at all there is a crime, it's by the officers who allocated the land. Siddaramaiah was in opposition when this happened.
I will tell you the timelines. When in the year 1998, when the denotification happened, Siddaramaiah was the Deputy Chief Minister. In the year 2004, when his brother-in-law purchases the land, Siddaramaiah was the Deputy Chief Minister. In the year 2010, when the land has been gifted to Siddaramaiah's wife, he was the leader of opposition. In the year 2017, when the land was allotted officially in MUDA's office, Siddaramaiah was the Chief Minister. In the year 2022, it was just an allotment letter. Even after that, when the Mysore District Commissioner informed Mr. Basuraj Bommai about the irregularities, he formed a commission to come out with the irregularities found in MUDA. Unfortunately, before getting the report, we lost the government. Mr. Siddaramaiah is sitting with the report on his table. If he has the guts, let him present that report about MUDA irregularities. We were the one who formed a committee to find out the irregularities. Why is not disclosing that? Why is not disclosing that?
No, but why is the Enforcement Directorate, Mohan Vishwa, why is the Enforcement Directorate only probing Siddaramaiah? There are senior BJP leaders who also bought land under the same scheme. There are JDS leaders who bought land under the same scheme. Why is it that the Chief Minister gets probed and not all of them?
The ED is probing under PMLA based on the FIR filed by the Lokayukta under the direction of lower court, under the again direction given by High Court. In the High Court, the judgment is also it looks like a political vendetta for Congress. It's totally anti-constitutional. They never respect Constitution. Now they never respect even judiciary also. Come on, who said all these arguments have done for almost 1 month in the High Court? Justice Nagaprasanna has given a clear judgment about the irregularities. Basis that only FIR has been filed by Lokayukta. Based on that only ED has come into picture. It is not that just like that ED has taken suo motu case on that. And also yesterday, what Mr. Siddaramaiah has done is asked his wife to surrender the site. Imagine if a thief surrenders the theft property, does it revolve him from being not calling as a thief, or will it stop him from conducting investigation? What kind of narrative is this? It's basically, I am telling you, and also one more thing our friend Mr. Santosh Lat said, what about Mr. D.K. Shivakumar, who is the Deputy Chief Minister? He is having a case in CBI for disproportionate asset. He is having a case in income tax for disproportionate asset. He is having a case even in ED also, and he is the one who is holding 1,400 crores of asset. He is the richest MLA in India. On what morality he is becoming a Deputy Chief Minister? And he is coming here and talking about BJP's morality and criminal charges. First of all, he should resign. And also, during the allegation came, what did Mr. Siddaramaiah do? He never allowed for an opposition party to discuss on the floor of the House. He literally threw us out of the Vidhan Sauda. Why did he hear of that? And also, what did he say? He wanted 62 crores money to give back to a site. That time he said, no allegation. He was very clean. If that was the case, why did he give back the site yesterday? Does it mean that there is an issue?
Now, Aishwarya Mahadev, for a long time he keeps saying, I've done nothing wrong. There is no reason to return the land. People within the party keep telling him, let's return the land, this will blow up. He refuses. Now when his wife says, I'm returning the land, it looks to anybody watching from the outside like a clear admission of guilt.
Good evening, Rahul. Keeping the pedantic arguments aside from the BJP, the one thing I want to make extremely clear is the fact that Mr. Siddaramaiah unequivocally has said he's not going to give up the sites because he's done nothing wrong. While yesterday when the came out, 1 second, Rahul, you allowed him to have his diatribe. Please give me at least 30 seconds of that. What I'm going to tell you is that yesterday, when the letter came out, she made two things very clear. She says, my husband has an unblemished record of public service. And while I give up the site, I also hope an investigation will take place. While the BJP has latched on to their little understanding of that letter and completely conveniently avoided what is there, which is the entirety of it. She says, have a free and fair investigation. None of this. And again, all of us understand that just returning the sites does not preclude or does not take away from an investigation to occur. The CM, his wife, the Congress party has said a free and fair investigation is what has to happen. And we believe that there's absolutely no wrongdoing in this case. From day one, whether it's from the time of the governor coming in to hastily sanction this prosecution while he denied year-long requests against Kumaraswamy, Murugesh Nirani, Shashikala Jole and Janardhan Reddy, his hasty, request for prosecution was something we spoke of. After the court, we have our legal recourse, we have the avenues that we can take, but in the public perception, his wife has said, I do not want, no site is greater than my husband's reputation. Please take it back, investigate, tell me where the wrongdoing can be attributed, apportion blame, and then we will see where it happens. But for the BJP, mind you, when the ED comes into play, the BJP's own MLA, Mr. Yatnal, has spoken about how 1,000 crores is being readied by Mr. Vijendra about, about trying to topple the government. Why doesn't the ED, with public reports and also in the media coming out, why isn't the ED acted upon that?
Okay. How is this playing out, R.K. Upadhyay, in the public eye? We heard from the Congress minister, he says, no, this is just a BJP conspiracy, no one is caring. You spend a lot of time talking to people across the state. Is this tarnishing Siddaramaiah's reputation, or is this being seen as a political blame game?
Rahul, the MUDA is now a cesspool of corruption and skullduggery.
Sure.
I mean, the kind of stories one hears day after day coming out of MUDA is really scary. And I hear in the last 1 year, more than 5,800 acres of land have been distributed. And one individual has got 66 sites. I mean, this is the kind of money laundering that's happening. And that's precisely the reason why I think the Enforcement Directorate is entering the scene. It is not just because of Siddaramaiah's wife's case. I think they are going to go into the entire gamut of it. And as Mr. Santosh Lad was saying, why only Siddaramaiah's case? Why not 125? I think it's more than 125. Why didn't his government look into it? Why didn't his government look into those 125 cases? They're irregular. So there is a lot that is going on, and Enforcement Directorate will definitely go to the bottom of it. And to tell you, till last evening when the announcement came of Enforcement Directorate entering the scene at 7:15, there was no question of surrendering the land. It was, by then the CM's office panicked, and by 10:15, they issued a press note from her wife saying that, she's surrendering it. And by morning, Siddaramaiah's son takes personally to the MUDA commissioner. Please, I didn't speak when you were speaking. Please
Aishwarya Mahadev, let him conclude. I'll come back to you for a counter in a moment.
Madam, let me finish.
Aishwarya, let him conclude. I'll come back to you.
Son personally delivers the letter to the MUDA chairman, and by evening 6 o'clock, he says it's cancelled. There are a lot of procedures even for cancelling, which he has ignored. And this clearly shows that he wants to avoid getting into the trap of the Enforcement Directorate.
Let me hold that. Let Aishwarya Mahadev respond. You're saying he took a decision to return the land. I'm coming back to you, Mr. Upadhyay. He took the decision to return the land only after the Enforcement Directorate got involved, because that's when Siddaramaiah panicked and realized that he may end up being arrested, and therefore in haste returned the land. He had no intention of doing so before that. Let Aishwarya Mahadev respond.
Rahul, while I don't have the distinction of being a journalist, I do happen to be a lawyer who can tell you very decisively that Mr. Upadhyay hasn't read Section 3 of the PMLA. But besides that, just returning the land does not take away from the fact that there could have been patent irregularities, which is why my government, even before the ED came in or even registered in ECIR, asked for the Debtae committee, has also asked for the Lokayukta to probe into this. And there were previous reports also of an investigation being undertaken to see irregularities in allocation of sites. This is not only about the Chief Minister. My government has taken action about irregularities in allocation. GT Devagowda and Mysore, HT Kumaraswamy, you see a whole gamut of BJP and JDS leaders also being allocated sites. So this is not about one person. There's a larger systemic issue within the MUDA which was being probed. And the fact that the ED has come in is not why the response of the site being given back has even occurred. The site being given back or not, irrespective, the investigation is still going to happen. His wife has asked for it. He has asked for it. All of us have honestly said, have a free and fair investigation. Do not pull off one of those Ashok Chavan, Ajit Pawar situations where you basically publish reports of corruption. The BJP itself did it. And a week later, when they joined the BJP, washing machine.
Okay.
They're all...
Sandeep Shastri, you gauge public opinion for a living. What is your best estimate of public opinion in Karnataka on this? Are the agencies being misused? Is Siddaramaiah being targeted, or has he grossly mishandled the situation?
Rahul, ever since this MUDA case broke out, I think it's very clear that the government has been on the back foot and it has been trying to defend its stand, and that's what the leadership has been doing. And there is no question of doubt that this has very, very seriously dented their image and has dented the image in the minds of the people. There is generally a feeling that there is no focus on governance and time is being taken up only in discussion on these issues. Right or wrong, I'm not saying, but then that perception seems to be building up that the entire focus seems to be on talking about the scandal, defending themselves. And I think you were right in saying that the decision that the Chief Minister's family took yesterday could well have been taken several days earlier, as was suggested. And I think by delaying it, they have allowed the case to gain greater momentum, and this feeling in the public that there is a challenge, there is a problem. And I think one of the tragedies that we in Karnataka have faced for quite some time now is, irrespective of the party in power, the citizen has had to deal with corruption, allegations of corruption within the government, and in the process, governance not being in place, resulting in the revolving door policy since 1985. So yes, to answer the question you raised, undoubtedly there has been a dent on the image of the leadership of the government, and the government is on the back foot, the leadership is on the back foot, and the whole discussion in the public domain is that where is the governance, where is, you see, people thought that the Congress government would like to focus on the 5 promises and its implementation. But now the focus, I'm not therefore saying it's not being implemented, but the focus very clearly has shifted away.
And the people voted out what they thought was a corrupt government and find themselves now with a government that is also accused of corruption charges. Is all really well within the Sidhu Sarkara, as the Chief Minister finds himself embroiled in land scam charges. Speculation is swirling that there are other Congress leaders waiting in the wings to claim the Chief Minister's chair. Siddaramaiah's deputy, D.K. Shivkumar, who's been very vocal in his support of the CM, has now gone silent. Shivkumar's meeting with State Home Minister G. Parameshwara triggered a big political buzz. What's cooking in Karnataka? Sagai Raj reports from Bengaluru.
Battling allegations of a land scam and facing an ED probe on charges of money laundering, Karnataka Chief Minister seems to be facing a new challenge. At the World Senior Citizens Day event held in Bengaluru on Tuesday, the crowd of ministers and party leaders around Siddaramaiah was missing. Only the hosting minister, Lakshmi Hebalkar, was present. The most noticeable absence was that of Siddaramaiah's deputy, D.K. Shivkumar. Despite being scheduled to attend, DKS skipped the event, fueling rumors of a rift between the two leaders. So far, at least publicly, Shivkumar has backed the Chief Minister.
There is no question of Chief Minister resigning. It is a political conspiracy. I have also tasted this conspiracy. We will fight it out legally and politically.
Now Shivkumar, who has expressed desire to ascend to the CM's chair after the Karnataka Assembly elections, appears to be distancing himself from Siddaramaiah. On Thursday, after Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge issued a statement on the issue, Shivkumar deflected further questions.
See, we have spoken enough on that issue. My ACC president has already commented. When the ACC president has commented, as a PCC president also, I also commented. We don't want to discuss much on that issue again.
Adding fuel to the fire, on Monday morning, Shivkumar made an unexpected visit to the residence of Karnataka Home Minister Dr. G. Parameshwara.
Sources claim that DK Shivkumar and G. Parameshwar yesterday discussed the possible future of the CM's position, raising eyebrows in political circles. The timing of this particular meeting amid growing scrutiny on Chief Minister Siddaramaiah is seen by many as a strategic move by Deputy Chief Minister Shivakumar to solidify his bid for top leadership.
Several senior leaders, including MB Patil and Basavaraj Raya Reddy, have openly voiced their interest in the Chief Minister's post, especially as the MUDA scam continues to create ripples in the political landscape. Rather than rallying around Siddaramaiah, many seem to be positioning themselves for the top job, signalling a potential shift in Karnataka's political dynamics. Will Siddaramaiah be able to hold on to the CM's chair? With Sagai Raj, Bureau Report, India Today.
The Congress leaders deny this, but R.K. Upadhyay, what's your sense of how much this has to do with internal infighting within the Congress? That there is a very clear scramble for the Chief Minister's chair. Shiv Kumar has made his ambitions quite public. How much of what we are seeing play out has to do with the internal divisions within the Congress?
Well, there is a lot. In fact, just about a couple of days back, Shiv Kumar went to his constituency and said people want to see him, in a high position. So he has made it public. I mean, he's not holding it back. He's very clear that he wants to be the chief minister. And I want to get back to some other point. This question of ED coming in has been questioned. But then, so when the High Court upheld the decision of the governor to order an inquiry, it was been handed over to the Lokayukta. Now the question is Lokayukta independent enough? Because the police force on which the Lokayukta depends is controlled by the CM's office. The postings are made by the CM's office. The person who is doing the investigation now, Udesh, he was the SP Chamarajnagar. He was posted to Lokayukta just 2 weeks back. And then ADGP Manish Karbikar, he still is conducting some inquiries on behalf of the state government. Now he has been posted to Lokayukta as ADGP. So the people are asking how independent and fair the inquiry can be. So I think that's the reason why one looks forward to the enforcement directorate coming in, and there has to be an independent agency which has the CM has no control over. As long as he continues to be the chief minister, and I think people will not have faith in the investigation being conducted.
Aishwarya Mahadev,
Rahul,
you know these personnel very well. You worked very closely with Mr. Shiv Kumar. He's a very wily, ambitious politician who wears his ambition on his sleeve, and there's nothing wrong with that. But this perception that part of what's happening is playing itself out in the way that it is because Shiv Kumar wants to fulfill his ambition of being chief minister, and he realizes that this 2.5 year term formula is not going to work. The only way he can have the top job is if he can trip Siddaramaiah over.
Rahul, I take umbrage to the use of the word wild. But moving on from that, Rahul, I want to be popular enough one day that me visiting somebody's house makes your show, right? It becomes a segment of it. Because Mr. DK Shivkumar visiting Mr. Parameshwar seems to have caused so much speculation that I believe it is far from the truth. Mr. Shivkumar was the first person to come out in defense of the chief minister. He is the first person who has stood by the chief minister. And let me make this very clear that even at the worst of times, even at the cost of jail, Mr. Shivkumar has never given up on the Congress family and the ideology of the Congress. And if the Congress High Command has told him that Mr. Siddaramaiah is the chief minister, he has wholeheartedly accepted it, and that is the entire party stance. And Mr. Shivkumar, when the time is right and when it is to happen, it will happen. If it has to happen, 1 second, Mr. Mohan Vishwa, you can have your time. Last thing on Mr. Upadhyay's independent agency like the Enforcement Directorate, I have a few examples to give you, right? Mr. Mukul Roy, Suvendu Adhikari, B.S. Yediyurappa, Himanta Biswa Sarma, Narayan Rane, Ajit Pawar, Praful Patel, all of them dealt with the Independent Enforcement Directorate, as you have seen, where they were basically slaughtered with the punishment of the process, and then the minute they jumped ship and got into that beautiful washing machine, they seem to have come out cleaner than the Ganga, because the Ganga obviously is in abysmal state now because of Namami Ganga. Anyway, that's a different topic. Rahul, it is very clear. We are united behind the Chief Minister. Mr. D.K. Shivkumar is the strongest man rallying for the Chief Minister right now. I cannot comment on other people's aspirations.
Okay, so now Mohan Vishwa, respond to this. A, the BJP is perturbed by the fact that you lost Karnataka because of the incompetence of your government, and now somehow you haven't been able to reconcile to the idea that Bengaluru and the wonderful state of Karnataka is not ruled by you, and therefore your government is trying to find different ways of tripping the Karnataka government over. That's essentially what's at play.
Rahul, yes, it's a right point. I want to tell you two things here regarding the misuse of agencies, whatever allegation done by Congress spokesperson and also the minister who was there in the show. Let me remind them that, in the case of ED also, whatever example she quoted, Ajit Pawar or Himanta Biswa Sarma, whoever, let them show one instance where the cases have been withdrawn from the ED.
No, that's a bogus argument. You don't call somebody for investigation, you don't arrest someone, and then you say the case hasn't been withdrawn. Mohan Vishwa, that's a bogus argument. That's a completely bogus argument.
Let me continue, please. Whereas the same thing against Mr. D.K. Shivkumar in the state of Karnataka, the cabinet itself took a decision not to CBI to interfere here. When the investigation itself was started, that kind of decision has not been taken nowhere in any BJP ruled state. That is point number one. Point number two, regarding
Meghalaya, you don't have to send for the CBI.
Can you please? You don't know. You don't have.
Aishwarya Mahadev, let him speak. Let Mohan Vishwa speak. Aishwarya's fader goes down.
Second one, I've been hearing the Congress leader telling that Mr. Siddaramaiah is a clean image from 40 years. Come on, let me tell you how he himself projected as a clean. When he was a chief minister for the first time between 2013 to 2018, when there was an allegation against him, 45 plus complaints were filed in Lokayukta. What did he do? He took out the power from Lokayukta. He formed something called as ACB, Anti-Corruption Bureau, which reported himself. He gave an investigation to ACB. ACB gave a clean chit to himself. That is how he closed the case. And there was one more case called Redo, where 12,000 crores of scam, whereas 852 acres of land was denotified for the sake of taking bribe in the same Siddaramaiah government. For that, to take out the fraud, Kempanna report came out. Where is that report? Why is not presenting? He's just keeping quiet and doing it. So this is how he's hiding. At the same time, in the recent incident also, the only two things we are hearing
I'm out of time. Since Aishwarya Mahadev has a hand up, I'm going to give you an opportunity for a very quick rebuttal. Aishwarya Mahadev. Mohan Vishwa's fader goes down. Aishwarya Mahadev, 15 seconds. Please go on.
Rahul, Mohan Vishwa talks about how CBI, which BJP states, sir, Meghalaya has withdrawn general consent for the CBI. Your own ally, Chandrababu Naidu, has withdrawn general consent. The fact of the matter here is that the BJP is using all these organizations and institutions to topple opposition ruled states, and the state and the people's mandate is decisively with the Congress, and we will fight back. We will basically come out, emerge, without any sort of tarnish on us, and we're very sure of it. The BJP can try. They can't do Operation Kamala because we have 136 MLAs. Mr. Yatnal talks about 1,500 crores being allocated. No, to topple us. Let the ED investigate that.
Okay, I'm out of time. You've heard different perspectives. You decide which one you think is the most forceful. It is absolutely clear to any sensible person that if Siddaramaiah and his family were going to give up this land, they should have done it when the scam first came to light. By delaying this, they've allowed the story and the charges to get louder, and now people will decode it in the way that they did. And it is also a fact that he was told by people around him that give up the land, and that's something the Chief Minister at that time felt there was no reason to. And of course, when the Enforcement Directorate, etc. get involved, there will be the charge of the central government trying to use its agencies. But that's the political reality in which we live, and therefore you have to act accordingly. And if this land had been returned to MUDA earlier, maybe the Chief Minister wouldn't have been in the kind of public mess that he now finds himself in. Anyway, let's track very closely what happens from here.